Good evening, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. Today is December 21st, 2023. I have several news updates to share with you. I will start with the breaking news coming from Czech Republic. It's a tragic incident over there. I will start with that video. Then I will continue with other news, including the Oromo Diaspora Community protest in Washington, D.C. The United Nations is still discussing the ceasefire about Gaza tragedy, but no resolution yet. I didn't get any update on that one, but people are still dying, and the number is now crossing 20,000 Palestinians dead, crossing 20,000. The injuries are tremendous, maybe more than 70,000, really. So they are still talking while people are suffering and dying. This is the update. And Rudy Giuliani, former New York mayor, also filed for bankruptcy. He cannot pay $148 million, judgment against him for defamation case. So he is now claiming Chapter 11 bankruptcy to avoid that much payment. So this is some of the update. Let's continue with this tragic news coming from Czech Republic, from Prague University. So far, the injuries about 30. The death toll is 15. Let's watch this video and continue with other news. Thank you again for coming back.
Panic in central Prague. They're running away from the old town, where around 3 p.m. today, the first reports of a shooting. The sound of gunfire as police surround the Department of Philosophy at Charles University. A police marksman finds cover, some pedestrians and cars not yet alert to the danger. He's peering across the square to the building where people are searching for safety. On the ground and on a ledge, clinging on several stories up. They're sheltering precariously on the south side of the building. Inside, a student has barricaded the door. He says he locked it before the shooter tried to get in. By 4 p.m., local police said the attacker was dead. It's not yet clear how he died after he'd killed at least 15 people and injured 24 others. Tonight, police said he was a 24-year-old student at the university. The Czech Interior Minister told reporters the attack wasn't linked to international terrorism. The gunman's father was also found dead earlier today, police said. The attacker's motives are not immediately clear. The Czech Prime Minister called it a tragedy. It's the worst mass shooting in the country's history.
It's a very crowded place where the shooting happened. I just have to remind you that the Czech Republic is one of the safest countries in the world, so this kind of events are not usual.
These people leapt from a ledge. The stories of frenzied escape still emerging. The identities of the dead still to come. In an afternoon of horror in historic Prague.
Okay, so that is a tragedy in Czech Republic, Prague University. As you heard from the video, is at least 15 killed and about dozens, I think 30 people, according to different media, 30 people injured. The number is still changing, and the the killer is also a student, 24 years old. I don't know what is the issue with this killing, why he did this, and he was also killed. And the circumstances is not clear. Also, the father of the killer was also killed. What is the relationship? Are they attacking the university, both of them? According to this video, it says he's killed earlier. So we don't know much details, but so far we know the attack happened at Prague University and Czech Republic, and so far 15 killed and 30 injured. So condolences for all victims, and this is not supposed to happen in universities. That's very bad. University should be a place for peaceful engagement and education, learning new skills. So it's not a war front. I don't know. Some people choose to do this terrible tragedy. So I will continue with other video, the protest in Washington, D.C. I have also another video about Fano capturing messengers sent to mediate them. So hold on for a few minutes. Let me adjust this video. Okay, let's listen to this voice of America, Afan Oromo, talking to the protesters in Washington, D.C. Let's listen to it.
Hawaasni Oromoo as Washington DC fi naannoo ishee har'a waajjira ministirii dhimma alaa fuulletti hiriira mormii geggeessanii jiran. Lolli keessumaa naannoo Oromiyaa keessaa akka dhaabatu United States deeggarsa mootummaa biyyattiif taasistu akka dhaabdu gaafataniiru. Mitikkuu Faqaaduut gabaasee kunoo.
Hawaasni Oromoo as biyya United States kan naannoo Virginia, Maryland fi Washington keessa jiraatan guyyaa har'aa waajjira muummee ministeera haajaa alaa United States fuula duratti hiriira nagaa ba'uun ajjeechaan Oromiyaa keessa haa dhaabbatu, gargaarsi namoomaa hatattamaan haa dhaqqabu, mootummaan Ameerikaa akkuma gargaarsa mootummaa Itoophiyaaf taasisu sarbama mirga namoomaa biyyattii keessatti qaqqabaa jiruufis dhiibbaa irratti akka taasisu gaafataniiru. Dr. Baahiruu Dhugumaa qindeessitoota hiriira kanaa keessaa tokko kan ta'an yaada nuuf kennaniin kaayyoo hiriira kanaa yommuu ibsan.
Rakkina biyya keenya isuma kanaan dura gara waggaa 5 nu dararaa jirutu ammayyuu nurraan dhaabanne. Ilmaan Oromoodhaa iddoo hallitti ajjeegafamaa dugugamaa jirti. Biyyi keenya nagaa dhabee kanaafiti mee biyyi lafaa isa dhaga'u keessumaa immoo mootummaan Ameerikaa hin wallaalan jenneetu hin ta'in rakkoon keenyatti cimaa jiru furmaata argachuu nuu qaba. Kanaafi kanadhaan nu baraatii mee warra wajjiniin hojjettan mootummaa biyya keenyaa kana gar tokkotti akka isaan kanaaf furmaata gochuu danda'anii fi nu irratti dhiibbaa godhaachuudhaaf.
Itti dabaluunis dhimmoota ijoo mootummaan Ameerikaa nuuf beekuu qaba jennee qabannee dhiyaanne keessaa jedhu Dr. Baahiruun.
Wanta sadiidha keessumaati kan nu jeeqaa jiru tokko seeraa fi heeratu dhabame biyya keenya. Akka dhageenyutti firoota keenya irraa akka dhageenyutti guyyaa guyyaadhaan miidiyaa irratti akka dhageenyutti namni seera malee heera malee akka barbaadametti ajjeefamaa dararamaa dugugamaa jira. Inni kuni dhaabachuu turre jira. Mootummaan biyya tokkoo kan inni mootummaan isaa kan inni beekamuu fi nagaa biyya sanaa yeroo eeguu danda'uudha. Nagaa sana dhabe namni Oromoodha. Karaa security biyyaatiin sin du'a warri milishaa Fano jedhamanis nama keenya deema ajjeesaa jiru. Inni kuni dhaabachuu qaba jenna. Lammaffaani ofuma isaatii mootummaani waraana sana keenya keessatti gaggeessaa jiru kana akka inni dhaabu qooda fudhachuutu irra jira. Warra lolaa jiru kanaan rakkinni keessan maali jedhee rakkina isaa sana argee furmaata kennuufiitu irra jira.
Adda Dinqinash Dheeressaa hiriira kanarratti arganne warra dubbisne keessaa isaan tokko maaliif akka hiriira kanarratti argaman yommuu ibsan.
Biyya keenya keessatti uummanni ijoolleen haadholiin dirooniitiin waan jiraniif isa kana addunyaan akka nuu beekuuf iyyata keenya dhiyeessuu mootummaa addunyaatti dhiyeeffachuuf asitti wal geenya. State Departmentii fuulduratti.
Hagam quba qabdu waan biyya keessatti deemaa jiru hagam ragaa qabdu mee rakkoowwan jira jettan kana natti himame.
Baay'een quba qaba. Firoottan kootu dhumaa jira. Firoottan kootu ajjeefamaa jira. Haadholiitu ajjeefamaa jira. Mucaan kee bosona jira jedhamteeti haadhatu ajjeefamte kuulleen. Ijoollee waggaa 18 olii haatiif abbaan abboomuu hin danda'ani. Mirga isaa ofii isaatiin murteeffata. Garuu mootummaan Itoophiyaa haadhitti kana fuudheeti ajjeese ilma keetu bosona jira.
Namoonni tokko qaamolee mootummaa dabalatee mootummaan amma aangoorra jiru mootummaa Oromootii jedhu. Oromiyaa keessatti rakkoo nageenyaa jiruuf hiriira baatan jennee kan gaafanne Dr. Baahiruu Dhugumaa mootummaan amma aangoorra jiru mootummaa Oromoo miti. Kun dogoggora jechuun haala ittaanuun ibsu.
Mootummaa Oromoo miti mootummaa nama biyya bushaa jiru. Kana sabni keenya biyya lafaa baruu qaba. Kan amma biyya bushaa jiru warra kanaan dura bushaa ture.
Must know the government we have in Ethiopia is not an Oromo government.
Walitti ijaarantu biyya sana bushaa jira. Warri biyya bushaa jiru Amaara isa keessaa qaba, Tigree duwwaatu keessaa ba'e, Oromos qaba. Warra Saawuzii keessaas qaba, Guraagee qaba, Somaalee qaba. Namoota kana hundumaatu achi keessa jiru. Kan isaan nama keenya saba sana iddoo hallatti duguugaa jiraniifis ofii isaaniitii mootummaa irra taa'anii, aangoo irra taa'anii lubbuu isaaniif mootummaa isaanii eeggachuuf malee biyya sanaaf akka hin taane argisiisan. Biyya Oromoo keessatti duula gaggeessanii, biyya Tigree keessatti duula gaggeessanii, biyya Amaaraa keessatti duula gaggeessanii agarreerra.
Dhumarrattis namoonni bakka sanatti argaman dhaadannoowwan garaagaraa dhageessaniiru. Waajjira ministeera haajaa alaa United States irraa namoonni 2 dhufanii xalayaa hawaasni Oromoo kun barreeffamaan dhiyeesseeru irraa fuudhaniiru. Haasaan gama waajjirichaan taasifame garuu hin jiru. Imbaasii Itoophiyaa kan United States magaalaa Washington DC jirurraa gaaffii hawaasni Oromoo kan United States jiraatan dhiyeessaniif deebii akka nuuf kennaniif yaaliin taasifne har'aaf nuuf hin milkoofne. Gara fuulduraatti yoo arganne qabannee dhiyaanna.
Okay. Okay, we'll come back to the Fano video. So thanks VOA for reporting about this Oromo Diaspora Community protests in Washington, D.C. in front of U.S. State Department. So they talking about the challenging situation in Ethiopia. People are just murdered without any reason, no justice, no accountability, and they are calling for that for the country to have rules and regulations, and people should not be just killed like animals. Even animals have a right. So that's the challenge, and they are calling for accountability. They are calling on the United States to help to put pressure on the government to create a peaceful situation in Oromia, and also for the government, which is formed from Gurage, South nationalities, Amara, and a few Oromos, to have peaceful engagement with OLA and settle this tragedy from happening again and again. And he openly says the current government is not representing Oromo, is not from Oromo, and Oromos must know. So this is very important, very important. That's why we see Oromos are dying every day. The mother is killed for her son, willingly joining the army, OLA. She has no control. She cannot say if he's more than 18 years old, she cannot say, she cannot hold him. But still the government we have in Ethiopia is killing people for any reason, So they are calling for accountability, they are calling for justice, and they are calling for peace. And that is the main point of that discussion. And, family members are killed, and people are just being killed for no reason and no accountability. We have seen in the case of Abagadas, in Karayu Abagadas, still nobody accounted for. In the case of the killing of lawyer Abdul Jabbar Hussein, many Hachalu Hundessa, nobody accounted for, and many more killings under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. No justice, no justice. So that's all I'm going to say for this one. Let's continue with a video I have on Fano. Let's see. So this Ethio Media, I got it from Ethio Media, talking about Fano seriously warning about those religious leaders not to, be a messenger for Prosperity Party, giving them a warning, especially those who are coming from Gondar town. They should reconsider from being a messenger between the government, the federal government, or the Amara region, and Fano. Try to mediate them, try to encourage them, convince the Fano to surrender. So Fanos are angry, Fanos are not happy about this, and they are taking serious measure, including the arrest of these religious leaders and elders, local elders, and also business people representing Prosperity Party, heading to with a message of peace for Fano to surrender peacefully, to come home. So Fanos are determined to fight those messengers and to imprison them. They don't want to kill them, they say. They are peaceful people, but they are determined to arrest them, and also giving warning for the others who might thinking of taking a message from this Prosperity Party officials and coming to Fano. So the rough translation of this video is this. Let's listen.
ሽማግሌዎችን ላኪዎችን ተላኪዎችን በመያዝ አይቀጡ ቅጣት በገንዘብ በስርም እየቀጣን አስተማሪና ወደ አማራነት ለመመለስ የሁላችን ዝግጅት ይኖር። ሌላው በተለይ ጎንደር ላይ ከጎንደር ዞን ጀምሮ እስከ ወረዳ ከተሞች ያለው መልእክተኝነት እንዲቆም በጥብቅ እናሳስባለን። በተለይ ጎንደር የሀገር ሽማግሌዎች የጎንደር ቄስና የሃይማኖት አባቶች ስብሰባ ጥሪ ሲያደርጉ የጎንደር ህዝብ እንዲታገል የጎንደር ወጣት እንዲታገል ወደ ስብሰባ አዳራሽ ጥሪ ሲደረግ ጎንደር የበኩሉን ትግል እንዲታገል መሳሪያ ብቻ አይደለም ትግል ድንጋይ መታገያ ስልት ነው።
They are calling on the Gondar residents, instead of being a messenger for Prosperity Party, they must fight the government. They must stand against this government of Prosperity Party.
ለትግሉ እንቅፋት ስብሰባ ሲጠራ ታዳሚን ምዕመናንን ሁሉም እንድትታገል መልእክታችንን እናስተላልፋለን። ድል ለአማራ ፋኖ ወንድሞቻችን አባቶቻችን ያው ካሁን ጀምሮ በኤ ብርጌድ እንደጠራንላችሁ አምስቱ ብርጌድ አንድ ክፍለ ጦር ተጠቃሏልና በክፍለ ጦሩ ውሳኔ እስከምታገኙ ድረስ ሁላችሁም ማሰሪያ ቤት ናችሁ። ይፈታሉ አይፈቱም። እኛ እንደ አብይ ቡድን ገዳይ አይደለንም፣ አስተማሪ ነን። ሁላችሁ ወደ ስር ከዛሬ ጀምሮ እስረኞች ናችሁ። መልእክታችን በዚህ ላይ እናቋርጣለን። እናመሰግናለን።
President Biden has urged Israel to change its tactics with regard to their indiscriminate bombing. The President, people in the State Department have asked Netanyahu
Senator Barnie Sanders,
over and over
very vocal,
and over again.
And
unfortunately, the Netanyahu government
pro-peace senator we have. I think maybe he's the only one
terribly interested in our perspective, despite the fact that we are supplying the bombs that they are using. despite the fact that we have provided them with $3.5 billion every year for a long time in military aid. Instead, the Netanyahu government is continuing its military approach, which is both immoral and in violation of international law. And in my view, Mr. President, the United States must end our complicity in those actions. And to do so, we must make two critical changes in our policy. First, while it is appropriate to support defensive systems like Iron Dome to protect Israeli civilians against incoming rockets, it would be irresponsible to provide an additional $10.1 billion in military aid beyond those defensive systems as contained in the proposed supplemental foreign aid package. Bottom line, we should not be giving more money to a right-wing extremist government in Israel to conduct a horrific and immoral military campaign.
Agree.
Which includes indiscriminate bombardment. Second, in my view, the United States should support efforts at the United Nations Security Council to end the bloodshed, such as a resolution expected tomorrow that would demand, and I quote, an urgent suspension of hostilities to allow safe and unhindered humanitarian access and for urgent steps toward a sustainable cessation of hostilities, end quote, as well as the unconditional release of all hostages. This should be something we strongly support. As you may recall, last week, the United States vetoed a resolution, and I think that was disappointing not just to me, but to many Americans.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Senator Barnie Sanders. I always listen to him. I always appreciate your raising your concern about those Palestinians, defenseless Palestinian people. They don't have any Iron Dome. They don't have any planes, or they don't have any tanks or heavy armaments. Israel is enjoying and killing these defenseless Palestinians and destroying day by day what is left of from Israeli expansion in Gaza City and West Bank. That's a tragedy. I hope it will come to an end, and Israel will go back so the rebuilding will start all over again. That's a tragedy, but we can't do about all 20,000 plus Palestinians killed. Some of them still, their body may be under the rubble. This is a genocide. It's a genocide happening against Palestinians, and Biden and his team are part of it. It's a tragedy. I hope they will not veto again another resolution. Still, they are in talking while people are dying, just delaying, and giving more time for Israel to continue with this destruction and bombardment. It's a tragedy. Okay, so that's about video, and we will see how I think the Fano militia in Amara region, they are looking for high and dignified dialogue with the Prosperity Party. They don't want those priests and sheiks and all these business people and elderly to negotiate to bring the message for them. They don't. That's a low class. They are looking for something in Tanzania or Kenya or maybe somewhere in Europe. So they are determined to punish, to arrest these messengers coming from Prosperity Party, from regional Amara Prosperity Party, and from the federal government, to ask them to surrender peacefully. So this is a done deal. No negotiation. They're determined to continue their fighting against Prosperity Party. Let me read a couple of other news and finish today's presentation. Thank you again. The first one is about African Development Bank, AFDB, international staff leave Ethiopia. The African Development Bank, AFDB, has said the Ethiopian government didn't yet resolve in any satisfactory manner the assault by Ethiopian security forces on 2 of its international members of staff on 31st October 2023. Subsequently, it decided to withdraw all its international staff from Ethiopia with immediate effect as of 19 December 2023, a day before yesterday. We remain particularly concerned that the Ethiopian government has to date not shared with us any report or details of investigations into this gross infringement. Akinwumi A. Adesina, a president of the bank, said in a memorandum internally circulated among the bank's staff and seen by Addis Standard. On 16 November 2023, the bank admitted, after weeks of local media report, that 2 of its staff members were unlawfully arrested, physically assaulted, and detained for many hours by elements of the security forces without any official explanation on 31st October 2023. The bank said back when the assault was a very serious diplomatic incident and that its complaint to the Ethiopian government had been formally acknowledged. According to internal memorandum written by the bank's president Akinwumi A. Adesina and addressed to staff, the president said he has dispatched a high-level delegation from the bank led by senior vice president on 22nd November to engage with senior Ethiopian authorities on the matter and to meet with bank staff in Ethiopia office. However, despite the bank's earlier request dating 06 November 2023 for a full transparent investigation into the incident, the subsequent engagement with the Ethiopian authorities, the assessment by the high-level delegation indicates that the situation is not yet resolved in any satisfactory manner, nor does it provide full confidence that all our employees feel safe and secure to carry out their duties and move around the country without fear of harassment. The African Development Bank remains particularly concerned that the Ethiopian government has to date not shared with the bank any report or details of investigation into the incident, President Adesina said, adding that the October incident continues to cause much anxiety across the African Development Bank group and especially among staff at the Ethiopian country office. The incident has also raised concerns among the bank's shareholders, other multilateral development banks, international financial institutions, the broader diplomatic community, and other stakeholders. The incident was a gross violation of their personal diplomatic immunities, rights, and privilege under the bank's host country agreement with Ethiopia. According to the internal memorandum, the bank's decision to withdraw its international staff will not affect nationally recruited staff from Ethiopia, and the bank's office in Ethiopia will remain open but under an officer in charge. During a weekly briefing given to local media on 16 November 2023, Ambassador Mellis Alam, spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was quoted as saying the incident didn't cause the bank to close its office and the relationship between the two was not severed. Ambassador Mellis didn't immediately respond to Addis Standard's request for a comment on the latest development. According to the bank, as of 13th September 2023, the bank's ongoing portfolio in Ethiopia comprised 22 projects, which totaled $1.24 billion. The president, however, cautioned that while the bank appreciates the excellent relations it has with Ethiopia until this egregious incident, its continued operations and the future presence in the country could be negatively affected if the incident is not fully resolved. Credit for Addis Standard. So that's a very serious warning. If this issue is not resolved, investigated thoroughly, the bank, African Development Bank, might leave Ethiopia totally. And so the Abiy Ahmed security forces, they don't even recognize who has immunity, diplomatic immunity, who, they think maybe they just kill like Ethiopian citizens and they go for free without any punishment. I don't know, these people, they may not have proper training or they're just doing it, for some reason. But there's a consequences for attacking diplomatic communities. And there should be a limit. There should be accountability. There is a lack of accountability, justice in Ethiopia under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. As if these security personnel and these undercover operatives are given just, green light, do whatever they want to do, kill and go for free. And without any court of justice, without any warrant from the court. But the constitution does not allow them to do that. Abiy Ahmed and the core members are doing this. Okay, finally, I have one more. Angola leaving OPEC. Angola said on Thursday it would leave OPEC. OPEC in a blow to the Saudi-led oil producer group that has sought in recent months to rally support for further output cuts to prop up oil prices. Angola's oil minister, Diamanito Azevedo, said the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries no longer served the country's interest. It joins other mid-sized producers, Ecuador and Qatar, that have left OPEC in the last decade. We feel that Angola currently gains nothing by remaining in the organization and in defense of its interest decided to leave. Azevedo was quoted as saying in a presidency statement. International oil prices dropped by as much as 2.4% on Thursday. As analysis said, the departure raised questions about the unity of OPEC and OPEC Plus, the wider group that includes Russia and other OPEC allies. OPEC Plus implements a new round of oil output cuts from January to try to strengthen the market. Prices fell on concern of the unity of OPEC as a group, but there is no indication that more heavyweights within the alliance intend to follow the path of Angola. UBS analyst Giovanni Stonovo said, Angola's announced departure follows a protest from the Angola OPEC about OPEC's Plus decision to cut its output quota for 2024. The dispute helped to delay OPEC Plus' last policy meeting in November and its agreement on new output curbs. And oil and gas accounts for almost 90% of total exports for Angola. It's highly dependent on oil and gas, almost 90% for its export. This shows that there is no consensus within OPEC itself, and this was for some time now. Ali Al-Riwami, former Marketing Director General at Oman's Energy Ministry, said, there will be consequences, no doubt about it, but I do not think other countries will follow. So OPEC didn't reply to a request for comment. Credit for this one, Reuters news agency. So still 12 OPEC members exist. Angola left for some disargument with OPEC. So that's all I have for today's update, and I will be back with other news, possibly positive news. Thank you for joining me. I will be back again. Be safe. So long, everyone.